Another great way you can use dandelion while they are in bloom is to make honey. This is both a delicious and inexpensive alternative to real honey and makes for a very convincing vegan substitute. If you'd like to see how I made this wonderful treat, then please stay tuned. To make your own honey, you'll need the following. 1 quart jar of lightly packed dandelion flowers, either with the greens or greens removed. The juice of 1 lemon. Besides adding flavor, it also helps prevent crystallization. And last but not least, 20 ounces of sugar. This batch will yield approximately 2 pint jars of honey. We'll begin the process by making a dandelion tea. To do so, we'll top the quart jar full of dandelion flowers with boiling water. Next, put the jar's lid on and allow it to steep overnight. It's not necessary, but I set my jar wrapped in a towel to help hold the heat longer. The next day, strain out all the tea into a wide cooking pot. Be sure to squeeze out as much of the tea as possible because this is where all the flavor is and will eventually become the honey. Also, don't forget to keep the strained flowers, and I'll show you a fun use for them in a future video. As a side note, it's completely okay to use the whole flowers with greens attached. However, I had all these extra degreened petals left over from a batch of dandelion wine and decided to use them for this honey. With your tea in the pot, turn on the heat, add the lemon juice, next the sugar, and mix till all the sugar is dissolved. Once it comes to a boil, let it simmer on low. The goal is to evaporate and reduce the water until the desired sugar concentration. For me, this took roughly an hour. Ordinarily, you don't want to stir boiling syrup once the sugar is dissolved, but I ignored the rule so I could watch the consistency. A tell that your sugar concentration is where you want it, the liquid will begin to foam up an inch or 2 above the surface. Also keep in mind that while the syrup is hot, it's going to be thin and runny. So I took samples in a shot glass and allowed it to cool until I found a consistency close to honey. After being satisfied with the test sample, turn off the heat, and while the honey is still hot, sterilize a couple pint jars in a boiling water bath. Set the jars on a towel and carefully pour the hot honey into the jars and attach their lid. Typically, you'd want to allow some headspace in the jars, but in this batch, I got a little greedy as not to waste any honey. Then we'll allow them to cool to room temperature, after which they'll be ready to eat. You now have a delicious, cheap honey alternative, and I promise this honey will be so convincing that your friends will think it's real. Put it on your toast, or in your tea, or on yogurt, however you like. This honey should also store no problem for a few months. I hope you found this video useful or were inspired to try something new. Please hit that like button and please subscribe for similar content. Consider supporting this channel by either sharing this video or by one of the different avenues in the description. Thank you to everyone who have already showed their support. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy foraging!